Hey guys, Pokkecorp here. So this is gonna be the summary for Chaos Zero Nightmare pre-season 2, featuring new units, general updates, codex updates, as well as a couple of dev notes preview, right? So without further ado, jumping right into the very first unit, and that is gonna be Narja. So Narja is gonna be a defense-based sub DPS slash support slash shooter, where she can deal increasing damage dealt by attack cards. Now she is a non-seasonal character compared to, for example, Sereno, so she will eventually be added to the standard banner. For the other hand, her support, which is gonna be the support card Gaia, right, partner, her signature partner, she will increase defense and damage dealt by self, as well as damage dealt by allies after playing her mythic card. And then aside from these two new units, we also have a brand new content, Spiral Tower of Screams, which is currently going to be in the beta mode, where you will clear 5 stages at a time, up to 50 stages as of this current dev livestream. So maybe in the future, we should be getting more floors added as this content is going to develop, right? So that's going to be that for our new stuff. Then moving on into the general updates, just to list a couple of things over here. Story skip will finally be added, no more pressing and holding all the way, fast forward improvements, memory fragment UI, as well as simulation reward improvements. We also do have the loot rewards in Chaos, which can be obtained in waypoints now, and we also have a Amir special lobby, bond stories for Magna, as well as Malin, right? And then aside that, we have the new trauma codes for Narja and Luke, and on top of all of these things, there is a brand new parasocial vertical view feature and full body live 2D viewing option if you want to just use it in public and basically pretend that your waifu is gonna be real, right? And then aside that, we also have a brand new breakdown scenario in the Abion Center adding to the game. And then next, for the codex update, is just gonna be increasing the level gain when clearing the Zero System codex. We also have a 50% discount event for codex merging, and adjusted appearance rate of a couple of codices, and Zero System codex grades will be unlocked based on the chaos itself. And last but not least, is gonna be the difficulty clearing in Galactic Disaster, right? Then going for the dev notes overview, we also have the codex unique option updates, as well as the combatant balance patch details. So most likely going to be pertaining to the previous situation when they mentioned like Tressa as well as Chaos are going to be getting the adjustments, right? And one last thing, which is not going to be implementing in this upcoming patch, but most likely in season 2 or maybe even season 3, is going to be the long awaited Epiphany reroll feature. So I think this is the one where it will drastically increase the quality of life when you're going to be trying to go for each chaos runs, so that you can get yourself the save outs without grinding that much of a time for each of your different units. And then as of this current moment, we also have a couple of new events, such as the check-in benefits for 10 limited pools, Galactic Disaster Season 2 preview, as well as 350 crystals, double currency event, as well as a in-game survey giving up to 200 crystal rewards. So that's pretty much everything to expect in Chaos Zero Nightmare's pre-season 2 update. And the rest of the video, we're just going to be talking a little bit about Narja herself, as well as what her kit is actually going to be looking like, right? Basically, her mechanic is going to be tied to two key things, which is going to be Voracity as well as Predation. So Voracity is when you hit with an attack card, she has a 40% fixed heal, but if your health is 50% or higher, it will increase 30% of the damage, and it goes all the way up to 30 stacks. So this essentially means that the more stacks of Rest is going to be dealing, you are going to be able to play a little bit similar to essentially Chizuru, where she's going to supposed to stack on the Shadow of the Moon to get on the Shadow of the Moon plus, and then let go of a very massive hit. So I think Narja is going to be performing a very similar function, where you want to stack on this Voracity as high as you can, all the way until you have an absolutely insane big stat to do like 1 billion attack damage, or rather damage dealt increase amount, right? So that is gonna be that. And then the other mechanic is gonna be this right here, Predation. So if you're gonna be in the Voracity state, you will add 80% damage amount dealt by attack cards, and when the effect is activated, it will decrease Predation by 1. So a couple of the actual base cards for myself, you can see from the deck right here. So this is the baseline cards. From what I'm seeing is essentially all of these things are going to be tied to giving her as many stacks of Veracity as possible. And on top of gaining your Veracity, if you have, for example, 6 or more, you can then gain the additional Predation to make each attack deal much more higher damage. So this is a couple of epiphanies that she's gonna be getting between all of the different cards. So we do have a couple of zero cost options for both the attack as well as the skill as to whether or not what is gonna be the best in slot deck as well as the playstyle running her. Then we're gonna be having to wait for the future server because unfortunately CZN does not really have something like an early access where we can't really test the units out by ourselves, right? So for this particular portion, we have a couple of things where you can get yourself the Voracity hits, adding additional hit based on Voracity, up to 3 times. Then I think for this one is gonna be decrease your Voracity, but you gain your shield for this. Bottomless Hunger, I'm guessing you're probably gonna be getting yourself the upgrade, because if this piece over here, activating Voracity 3 times in 1 turn, -1 random card by 1 once a turn. Which I think it will work pretty well considering that it synergizes quite nicely with Chizuru's base kit, where you can't really gain the AP, but you also want to get yourself the cost reduction, generally speaking. So that also looks a little bit interesting. And then this is gonna be the other card. Every single thing here is gonna be skill or upgrade. I don't really know if she's supposed to stack on with her basic spam, but from the way I look at it, it might be a possible build because every single time a basic card attack inflicts hit, you get 1 Voracity, and you get this 50% damage down to any basic cards. So probably a little bit similar to like Chizuru, where she also want to stack on a lot of different hits herself to build up the Voracity to the highest amount, right? Then this is gonna be the orange. Out of all these here, defense-based damage taken. This might be a potential to actually run this with defense scaling DPS, which I guess it makes a little bit sense of why they actually added Amir to like the event, because she is also like pretty much one of our other only DPS that's gonna be based on defense. So that is kind of interesting. Other than that, we also have a absolutely massive 3 cost. That being said, we do have retain, so you can actually reduce the cost. And if you have both of these, you can activate 1 time, so almost 700% multiplier at the baseline. So that is also really cool. Guessing the way that her legendary or like the non-epiphany card works is that you are supposed to have this on high cost, but eventually you're gonna bring this down to a very low amount of cost, as well as the additional healing. Basically sort of like almost like a healer from the amount of value you're gonna be getting from every single time this card is gonna activate throughout the long course of the battle. So that is pretty much it for the initial kit on the live stream. And then her ultimate is going to be this right here. 10 Voracity, 250% if mealtime is in the graveyard plus 5 predation. So you essentially combine this with Voracity, then after you actually expand all of your mealtime, you can then gain back predation to increase damage down. So she is sort of like a mix between sustain plus DPS all into one. If she's gonna be a League of Legends unit, she might as well just be a top laner at that point, right? So that is pretty much gonna be that. For the rest of the stuff like the Eidolons as well as the Mindscapes or like the dupes and everything, I think we'll take a closer look into the actual kit closer to the time when this unit is gonna be released. So I'll be looking forward to Mr. Cell cooking up the script for that. Other than that, I will be wrapping up this relatively fast little update for CZN. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Word of the day is gonna be Cell. Join YouTube. All the best, my guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.